Almost 2 years ago, after Raz and I finished playing through Rem 3 The Secret Library, Special Edition, we were still jonesing for more Puzzle Island goodness, so we thought, hey, maybe we should play through the whole Myst series, since neither of us really went past Riven and into the later era games. That was a project that I really enjoyed, and helped me nail down some feelings I have towards the Myst-like genre as a whole. That is, these puzzle escape room games set in a cohesive world where the puzzles are more a systemic part of the environment, where their placement and purpose feels more integrated as opposed to arbitrary lock and key pairs. The Myst series is composed of little self-contained environments that have a lot of world building go into them, called ages, and each age has its own unique flavor of sorts. Some are forested jungles inhabited by strange creatures, others are stormy voids filled with rocky spires, and others still are an endless expanse of ocean and the one mechanical fortress buffeted by it. These ages come with their own lore and meta-narrative purpose or origin, some more fleshed out than others, and they can house different styles of puzzles or interactions that help them feel unique or memorable, instead of just another room with a combination lock, but this time it's in Semaphore. Anyway, I figured before all that newfound familiarity with Myst slips from my memory and I have an excuse to replay the whole series again, I should probably do the next logical thing and make a tier list of all the Myst ages from the mainline numbered games. Because no, we did not bother playing the Myst MMO Uru, especially after we got through Myst 4 and just wanted an end in sight. Spoilers for later on in the tier list, I guess. So, ground rules. The tier list is going to be S through F, standard grading applies. Ages are judged on 3 criteria. The first being puzzle content. How was the actual mechanics of playing the game at this time? Did it have good puzzle meat requiring interesting observations and a few new neurons to be rubbed together? Or was it just reskinned Towers of Hanoi? Then we'll judge it based off of aesthetic. Did the age look nice? Was it a new and alien world brimming with spectacular visuals only a CD-ROM based experience could provide, rendered with care and an eye for detail? Or was it generic jungle, land of the bland? Then, finally, we'll judge it based off of a criteria I'm going to call meta. It's a strange criteria, but this one is meant to encompass things like the age's overall place in the oeuvre of Myst, and also its respective game. Does going to this age kill the pacing of whatever individual adventure we're on? Or is it an also-ran age, a revisit to a concept we already saw, that kinda takes the magic out of the experience? Notably, I'm not gonna be grading on the plot content or story integrity. I really do not play Myst for its ongoing story of Atris being the worst father in all of video gaming, or if the actual ages hold to some grander logical design. So just be warned that the copious amounts of world building notes do not really factor into grading here. So that's been way too much preamble. Let's get right on in to grading the ages, starting with Myst 1, Myst, the prequel to Riven. Channelwood, the age of trees and valves. An age, I think, that was a novel proof of concept back in the day of hypercard stacks that has had points shuffled around in subsequent revisits to Myst over the years. The main puzzle here is just a line tracing puzzle for getting your pipe valves in order and then making sure you have proper access to both sides of the upper levels. The trick of it was, back in the day, navigating these bridges which jut off at strange angles using just screen-by-screen shots was a bit trickier than your perfectly laid out cardinal dungeon crawl. Translating the age over to real Myst with regular first-person walking sim controls, the puzzle got much easier, but the world surrounding it became less of a hassle to navigate, and you could really appreciate the beauty of it more. I think Channelwood is the baseline age by which all others can be judged, and as such a good starting point, it's gonna get a B. Mechanical, the age of big ol' gears. This is the stinker age of the original Myst, in that it really is just one big house that you explore. The age itself is another endless expanse of water off in the distance, with its constructed fortress telling you more about Atris and his sons than really anything else about the age. You could stick this house in any location and nothing would change, and as such, it feels more like your standard escape room style location than most of the rest of Myst. The puzzles here are mostly just poking around, trying to find various hidden rooms and how to access them, and then some mechanical, like the name of the age, fiddling about with levers and knobs to swing the bridge around as needed. It's tactile and exploratory in a way that is more involved than good old Channelwood, but at least for me, it came across as feeling more hollow. I think that the most interesting thing of note is it sets up a consistent use of the dong splat noise used to denote cardinal directions, if you're paying attention. It's just kind of a C-tier age, but thankfully that's as low as Myst 1 gets. Selenetic, the age of sound and minecart mazes. I think I love this age more than most, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Its actual mist-shrouded shores and strange crystalline landscape are eerie and evocative, and do feel truly alien while still being natural. Then, sprinkled about the landscape are these haphazard structures that seem to be disconnected monitoring stations, but all congeal together into a nice little audio puzzle that I don't mind, but I realize could be a bit of a barrier to entry for some. Finally, cap that off with a related but distinct underground minecart maze where actual navigation can be mapped out if you want to be forehead about it, or through careful observation and note-taking, you can work out the dong splat relation to cardinal directions and breeze on through. It's a mixed bag of an age. The minecart section does drag on a bit long, especially on your 2 visits to the place, but it's so darn unique, I can't help but find it charming. B+. Stone Ship, the age of water levels and power. This was the first age I ever stumbled into when I played Myst way back in the day, and as such, it will hold a soft spot in my heart forever. It's also a very striking age in comparison to the rest of Myst, where the more calm and serene natural landscapes are traded in for a harsh, stormy night, with an obvious shipwreck and very little cozy land to actually find. Its puzzles feel like a natural extension of how our world functions. I understand how sump pumps work, that a container filled with air will float, and that cranking a generator to fill a battery is only a temporary solution at best. I think the puzzle content in original Myst doesn't get much better than Stone Ship, from world comprehension to paying attention to your surroundings to learning to not click past that long hallway. There might be a passage you could miss. And it's all slathered in this haunting atmosphere that still comes across, dated as the graphics may be. As an A+ age, all things considered. Myst, the age that is the name of the series. I could rag on Myst Island being a complete hodgepodge of bits and bobs from other ages. I could say mean things about it just being another island with no real outstanding features. I could say it's not really fair to judge it compared to other ages, because it acts more as a hub, with a lot more puzzle content, but all that content is just introductory bits to their respective ages. I could complain it's all tone setting, but trying to figure out its own unique tone is impossible because of how incongruous it all is. And I won't say any of that because it'd be stupid to say. Myst Island immediately sets expectations from players about what kind of experience they are in for. It dumps you on a landmass with clear boundaries and landmarks and says, go figure it out. And boy, figuring it out wasn't at peak fun right here, right out the gate. From perusing the library and reading all the lore of the lands you will get to go to poking and prodding and getting into, and behind and underneath places that feel like you really shouldn't be there, to actually having a plethora of puzzles, which, yeah, a lot of the time are just locks and keys with some translation in the way, but they're still fun to unravel, and I don't have their exact solutions burned into my brain, even all these years and replays later. The Age of Myst is the gold standard, and the series, I would say, has been chasing after that ever since. Myst is an S-tier age. Rime, the age of Aurora and crystals. So, Real Myst introduced a little bonus post-game age to poke at, as Atris drops a book he totally had on him this whole time when he went back to spank his boys for being very naughty or whatever. You've got a little bit of extra Myst Island poking around to do to unlock it, and then wham, under the library, this whole time, Rime, an age where it is cold as shit and no one likes being there, but it's also very pretty. The only real puzzle is making sure that you find every orientation an elevator can be in. It's like baby's first REM elevator, and your reward for that is the Aurora Borealis and some crystals you can fondle unintuitively to get a screenshot from Riven. And like, a particularly boring screenshot at that. This is about as C grade as it gets, but I like it more than mechanical for at least having something different to look at. A different kind of vibe, this frozen wasteland that we won't see revisited until the end of the series. So, C+. Moving on to Riven, the sequel to Myst, and the age of its namesake. Riven, the age of 10 puzzles total. So I'm gonna get into some hot water on this one. I don't love Riven. I recognize that it is the high watermark for some people in regards to Myst likes, and it truly is the most expansive singular age in the series. Though it is subdivided into 5 smaller islands that each function as their own kind of... We're getting off track here. It's also one of the few ages we see inhabited currently, with other agents acting on their own accord, just off-screen from where the player is exploring, with their own goals, giving it a really strong, living, breathing world vibe. It also is the age with the most in-universe lore to discover, and you do have to learn a lot about its history and those living in it. That said, it's just kind of a big series of islands with a tram ride going around it. By having the majority of the game take place on this one location, and the point being to get familiar with this age more so than the others, you also lose a bit of the magic of feeling like you're stepping into a wholly unique place every few hours. It also doesn't help that Riven is, on the whole, about as puzzle-light as the series will ever get. By my count, there are 10 puzzles in the whole game, which I'm going to enumerate thusly. Number 1 is the rotational 5-exit room, which is just spatial awareness and recognizing the 2 exits as also entrances. 2, turning the boiler off, fiddling with the mechanics to understand what's going on and then just order of operations your way through it. 3, entering Gehn's lab, just turn the fan off, trace the wires, trace the pipe, learn to check behind the doors that you just opened. 4 is the submarine ride, just draw a map, switch, guess and check to extend the walkways. 5 is learning the gold orb entry. So you need to learn the number system, which is basic note comprehension, and then checking behind doors that you just opened. 6 is the animal puzzle. You need to connect 3 incomplete data sets to create a whole, learning the number system, doing some world observation, some note comprehension. 7 is the gold orb meta puzzle. connect 3 incomplete datasets to create a whole, do some more world observation, some note comprehension, some guessing, checking, and spatial awareness. And trap Gehn, which is note comprehension, abstract thought, and make sure you switch the books in the right order. Catherine's elevator, it's just world observations and learn to repeat some sounds. And 10, the starfisher hatch, learn the number system and note comprehension. That's it. That's every puzzle in Riven. Mind you, they're bigger, more complex puzzles that require a lot of backtracking and, comparing and contrasting notes you find in a very wide play space, but there's not a lot there. As such, I can't, in good faith, of my own honest opinion, valuing puzzles and spectacle over lore, really give Riven anything higher than the highest possible B. Like, this will be the top of B tier and nothing will beat it. But a B still it is. Riven still has other ages in it though. There's the 233rd age, the age of punking Gehn. Lol, Lamau, get dunked on Gehn, you idiot, you absolute fool, you moronic nincompoop, fell for the oldest trick in the book, literally. I mean, we really don't get to explore Gen's office age that much. We do get a pretty rad flyby in the intro cutscene of what I'm going to call double-stacked mountains and his big satellite dish lair. Also, a brief aside, in the latest re-release of Myst, the VR-supported one, they changed Stone Ship to be set at dusk, but for me, I always found Gen's age here being set in this red hazy dusk to be incredibly striking, and we'll be awarding aesthetic points for it technically having been done here first. There's no puzzle meat to speak of outside of pulling the old switcheroo on poor Gehn. This is just a story age for story reasons. It's D tier. It's the 233rd age. It doesn't even have an interesting name. Then we have Tay, the age of box art. Ooh, what could this mysterious looking, darker, moodier age be that we're going to explore in Riven? What is that giant ball perched on a tree stump? Is it inhabited? Is it carved? It looks kind of like a cave. Is the scale of it so those little lights are actually windows? Oh man, this thing is massive. I can't wait to explore this very different looking environment for all its secrets. I bet there are some cool things to poke at there. Oh, wait, no, it's just, you're in one room. Okay, you visit it for another story beat? Gotcha. Apparently it's a hideout for this whole ongoing revolution filled with refugees escaping from Gehn. Catherine wrote it, something that the main villain was struggling to do. And we don't see anything of it, nothing. Cool, fine. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. D-. That's it. That's all Riven has to offer in terms of different ages. So, moving right along to Myst 3, Exile. Jnanin, the age for teaching the art of writing ages. And here, I'm gonna get into even more hot water for saying nice things about Myst 3 Exile, a game I think I like on the whole more than Riven. It's a return back to the formula established in Myst 1, where there's a hub island and then several sub-ages that are all very different from each other, that you explore getting pieces for a final puzzle. Jnanin and the whole of the worlds we explore are explicitly set up as teaching ages, what Cirrus and Akinar were herded through by Atris as their kind of homeschooling, which gives me a bit more leeway to not heavily criticize some of the more arbitrary puzzle setups. Look, making a lesson plan is hard. As for Jnanin itself, it's actually rather stale. Another small island surrounded by a vast sea with a big central schoolhouse and what looks like to be a giant tusk next to it. I mean, it has a Donkey Kong barrel puzzle right off the bat. That was goofy. There's some fiddly light pathing for Simon Says and nature puzzles. I don't really mind any of its introductory puzzles for the various ages, and they have a bit more of a unifying theming for each rather than the hodgepodge lock and keys present on Myst Island, but it being sparser and also feeling like a Riven leftover feels a bit to be desired. Still getting a B though. Amateria. Dynamic forces spur change. There is literally nothing to not like about this age, other than just how dang artificial it is. If I were the richest man on Earth, I would be devoting my time and resources to making Myst-like theme park attractions, and most of them would come out like Amateria. The columnar jointed volcanic formations with the pagoda-like architecture and this giant rolling ball track snaking through the place, all while it's bathed in the magic hour dusk lighting. Sure, the puzzles are mostly arbitrary, but they're also straightforward physics lessons, which is in keeping with this being a teaching age. Balance the weights, get the order of operations and resonance frequencies right, solve a marble path puzzle and then be rewarded with the sickest marble run first-person ride ever. This is the age that makes me say Myst 3 is worth the price of admission alone. A+. Edanna. Nature encourages mutual dependence. Oh no, this age is not artificial at all, but entirely natural. And it's the worst age in the game, and foreshadowing for terrible things to come. Edanna is what it feels like playing every other point-and-click adventure game, where strange and alien interactions happen for seemingly no reason other than, wouldn't it be fucked up if a fish got squirted through vines and used as a power source for weird slimy elevator plants to funnel you up and down them in order to chase a bird into its nest? Like, yeah, okay, that's all well and good, and you made a distinct-looking age and all, but like, the whole time I feel like I'm very much not in control here and just hoping the right chain of reactions get set off to leave things in a more favorable state than before I started mucking with them. Which is not really what I come to Myst looking for. I want deliberate interactions with clear outcomes and state changes that I can guess and check and slowly but surely piece together the machinations of the larger world and impose a grand design over them and... Oh no, am I a baddie? Anyways, Edanna. Not a fan of the nature ages, turns out. But unfortunately, they can only get worse. So just a C. Voltaic age. Energy powers future motion. Man, Raz and I had to take like 3 cracks at this age to figure out what to do. I don't know if it was just us stumbling around, not realizing all the moving parts or what, but we got off on the wrong foot with an age that, by all rights, should be fine. This feels like a classic Myst 1 age, just some fiddly mechanical bits in clear order of operation with immediately obvious purposes but unclear interconnectivity. And slowly but surely, you flip all the switches and turn the power on to everywhere it needs to go, and wow, would you look at that? You just took an airship right back to where you started, but with a greater understanding of how everything all fits together and one more puzzle piece under your belt. Good for you, kiddo. It's also a nice balance between clearly artificially constructed features, that is, in Amateria, and the totally organic Edanna age. The machinery is complementary to the craggy, rocky valleys you're fumbling around in, solving some chewy yet ultimately filling puzzle meat. As far as it's a B+ age, it's good to great. Narayan. Balanced systems stimulate civilization. The home of Saavedro, the antagonist of this game, and the first age that Atris's bad boys fucked over. Atris also knew that his sons had caused some serious damage here and sealed it off from them, also trapping Saavedro 1 meta level up in reality, which kinda broke his brain. I do honestly feel for the guy. And so really, all there is to do here is just use our 3 big puzzle pieces we've been gathering in the other ages to crack a symbols to words puzzle and input a fiddly little drawing into a complex keypad. There's some goofy bad endings here, a kinda touching good ending, and not a lot to look at otherwise, since a majority of the age is locked away on the other side of a force field we're trying to bring down. It's a less engaging meta puzzle than what Riven had, since it's gated until after you have all the requisite pieces, so it's more of a final test your knowledge question than anything else. And a new setting for the final cutscene. It's a B- age. Unfortunately, that's all the best behind us. Now we move on to the slow decline of the Myst series with Myst 4 Revelation, and it's a precipitous drop. Tamana, Atris's family villa. The tram ride over Tamana with Yisha, Atris's daughter, gives you a nice scenic view of the age before getting to their home. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful little villa in what looks to be Arizona.
No, try the one on your right.
It's got a nice little greenhouse.
The amplitude is off.
There's an underground bunker yielding 2 extra-dimensional hyperprisons.
Maybe a different frequency would work.
An observatory.
Try adjusting the left.
And its own hydroelectric dam.
Realign the way.
Yes, we get it, Atris. Shut up about your damn crystals. This is one of the few ages we get to see with a distinct day and night shift, if you aren't playing real Myst. And yeah, Tamana's nighttime setting does a lot to give it a moodier atmosphere. Well, that and the domestic bombing. The puzzle content is a pretty linear affair, with only really 2 paths forward, the red or the blue book, and you don't have a lot of exploring to do, more so revisiting the areas as chapters of the game progresses and doing the next important thing. Linear, story-heavy, not particularly creative environments, with some egregious hand-holding up front, does not endear me to this age, and it only gets worse as we dive deeper into the game. This is a C tentatively. Haven, Akinar's jungle ship prison age. Well, this is one of the worst ages I had played in a Myst game up to this point. Myst 4 has a big problem with its waypoints, where clicking to travel one screen forward can sometimes mean you've traveled a 15-minute walk and are completely lost as to where you just were, and that is only exacerbated by trying to navigate around a fairly samey looking jungle environment. Oh yeah, don't let that cool, totally upright galley shipwreck fool you. That's just the intro to the age, a simple weighted elevator puzzle. No, in short order, it's gonna dump you into a jungle with some unintuitive interactions with the local wildlife. Some of which I swear were bugged on my end, and I just didn't end up working the first time around I tried to get the monkey calls to go through. Yeah, the big puzzle here is figuring out how to manipulate some devices to make long or short sounds in different pitches to communicate to monkeys to get them to do what is essentially a big ol' slide unblock puzzle. And it's so frustrating to do in-game, I just ended up using a pen and paper and my own little chips I made to model the movements and get a game plan together before spending the next 40 minutes trying to input the dang sequence myself in-game. It was finicky and in all the wrong ways, and ultimately needlessly overcomplex for a simple puzzle. Plus, this jungle was less spectacular than Edanna. It felt pedestrian, where at least Edanna kinda creeped me out with how alien it was. Haven is more Denis family Atris and less Avatar. The blue people, not the arrow-headed kid. This is a D tier age. Maybe the bottom of D tier. Spire, Cirrus's Crystal Lightning Prison Age. Wow, Cirrus got the raw end of the deal when it came to prison ages. Spire is probably the most outright hostile looking age we've seen, but also tied for the best in terms of aesthetic with Amateria. It's just this giant, well, crystal spire, an appropriate name for the age, towering high above the clouds. We only ever see the night sky. it's so far the only age where the boundary is not an endless expanse of ocean, but just a sheer drop off into who knows what below. Add in some crumbling Gothic architecture and lightning storms illuminating the distant skyline, Spire really does leave a hell of an impression. It's also back to a more mechanical focused puzzle solving, giving it a more methodical approach to working through the age, using the scientific method of testing and refining your understanding of the various contraptions. Well, the gentle caressing of crystals to resonate at the right frequencies notwithstanding, but even that final puzzle is less tedious than what we saw with the blasted monkeys. This is easily the best age Myst 4 has to offer, putting it in good company with other ages I quite liked. It's a solid B. Serenia, Catherine's Age of Hippies and Elementals. Okay, I don't hate this age on a purely aesthetic level. It's got a different vibe to it than the other natural islands, feeling less tropical and more mountainous, I guess, if I had to describe it. This feels like a cooler climate, all things told, and the more prominent exposed stone structures and strange rocky mushroom canopies are distinct enough to win me over at first glance. Sucks about the puzzles, though. Completely random chase the elemental spirits, bubbles, popping, timing, and hoping you get lucky or good at navigating these pathways that you're already having a hard time visualizing because Myst 4 zips you halfway across the map in a single click, with not a lot of intermediary steps or landmarks to orient yourself around. Not to mention the 3 different water control puzzles. I guess having an actively inhabited age is novel. Sucks that everyone here are hippies insane enough to sleep in the danger beds. This is easily the longest age in the game, and other than Riven, which is kind of cheating, the longest in the series I can think of. And most of it is just tedious, overwrought puzzles that are fiddly to interact with and start leaning a little hard on just straight up magic for my liking. We're veering off into Spirit World mumbo jumbo. Oh no. Wait, hold on, there is one more age. Well, regardless, this gets an F, but I'm gonna have to talk about Dream, the spirit age of only the worst puzzles. A completely featureless void you end up astral projecting to is the least Myst-like thing I want to be doing in a Myst game. For it to feature extremely tedious and overwrought versions of Lights Out and Towers of Hanoi. Wow, this is literally the worst of the low points in all of Myst. I do not care. This sub age is pure garbage, and it is the capstone to Myst 4, the actual last thing you have to do in the game. And when I got here, I was already so sick and tired of the whole damn experience, only to be stuck, completely stuck, with no option to even back out or just linger in other places, but trapped in this nightmare void of flashing lights and terrible moldy-oldy puzzles. There is lasting trauma of Myst 4 still holding on to me, and the worst of it is because of Dream. This age is just called Dream, for fuck's sakes. God damn it. Double F minus. So you can see why at this point Raz and I did not really feel like doing extracurricular activity and checking out Uru. We were ready to be done with Myst and moved straight on to Myst 5, the End of Ages. Denis, the Underground Library Age. Alright, I had to do some serious wiki diving to untangle the start of Myst 5, which picks up far in the future in a room where Myst 1 ends, the Myst linking book sealed up. You explore a place called Kvir, which is not its own age, just a location in Denis, before being teleported by Yisha to a different location in Denis to meet Escher, the main antagonist? Or just the main talking head who explains what's been going on for the past few decades. All that is unimportant though, as we have a giant underground mining shaft filled with tunnels and elevators and, most importantly, linking books to new ages. There isn't a whole lot of puzzling to do here, but I don't know, man, giant spiraling descent into the earth through long abandoned ruins, it kind of sparks a joy in me that is hard to overlook. We're probably gonna give this the lowest B possible, but it's a good age, especially compared to what we just had. Direbow, the age of swamps and portals. Visually interesting, but ultimately the single most disappointing age in the series, saved by its complete lack of puzzles, so I'll be putting it above Dream as the worst for having atrocious puzzles. A purple hazy swamp with bridges that are locked and barely blocking them off, more chest-high walls with a mere suggestion of do not cross than an actual real-world barrier. Direbow is just a fast travel hub between the other ages, which is an intermediary step between the actual hub world where you're uncovering them. It's the awkward landing page middleman hub and could be cut entirely from the game with no difference whatsoever to gameplay. Still, it's pretty, but that just isn't saying much. The highest possible D? Nolobet, Escher's Age of Pleasant Islands. The home of the Bahro, where Escher first was experimenting with them and their magic powers, and also how to communicate with them. This is where the main gameplay gimmick of Myst 5 focuses, writing little magic symbols on your tablet and having the Bahro do things for you. Like here, where you learn to make it rain, which is only ever marginally useful. There is some symbol deciphering, some, well, how the heck do I get there puzzling to work through, a couple of novel aha moments about traversal and recognizing just what exactly you're looking at. But for the most part, this is just another tropical island with inoffensive puzzles. Which is a breath of fresh air after Myst 4, so we'll take what we can get. B-. Tagira, the Age of Ice and Steam. All the way at the very tail end of the series, and we get only the second Ice Age. And this one is, as Escher says, a prison age where many different people were sent. Figuring out how tablet transportation works is a key part of this age, and will be put to much greater effect in others. And the only other real puzzle of note is a discount Channelwood rehashing, using pipes and steam redirection to create a path across some water. Tagira feels like a simple introductory age, but that kinda should have been the purpose of the hub age in most other Myst games. Here it just feels shallow. Pretty, but a cold reception nonetheless. It's a C. Laki'ahn, the Colosseum Island Age. This is just a classic Myst-ass age, with doors locked from the wrong side, parts of codes you can see through open windows, a big old mechanism with levers to flip, opening some routes that end up closing off others, even a learn the counting system for a weights elevator puzzle, underground maze, even more counterweights puzzles. Laki'ahn just has a good classic mix of puzzly goodness. As far as the age itself, I know I've been complaining about standard tropical island ages, but something about the skeleton graveyard, the big rusted cage, the Colosseum itself. It's all new kinds of structures and landmarks that make Laki'ahn feel a bit more distinct. No, I really like this age. This is exactly the kind of stuff I come to Myst looking for, and I was not disappointed. Amazing to find this hiding so deep into a series I had long since written off as not even capable of playing the hits. I'd say that it's an A-tier age. It's nothing to not like, it's great. Totalmir, the coolest looking age, bar none. Hi, I'm me, and I am a sucker for the majesty and wonderment found in a beautiful space vista. You perch me atop a spire, The land below, just a patchwork quilt of rivers and valleys. The endless expanse beyond the horizon, engulfing the night sky, bathing everything in a cool, soft glow, and a giant ringed planet filling the rest of your available eyeline. Totalmere pulls out all the stops. Raz and I just couldn't stop gushing about how amazing this age looked from a purely aesthetic perspective. Throw in a giant observatory and clock, wires and gondolas connecting distant stations, and the big reveal. I'm going to refuse to spoil here. Yeah, that's right. There is a moment in Myst 5, right here, at the end of the entire series, that is so awesome, it is reused as the climax in another of gaming's greatest of all times, and I don't even think it's as impactful as it is here. Totalmere is pure spectacle, some of the best I have seen outside of like Venoneth. All it had to do was have decent, inoffensive puzzles, and in turn it ended up having some pretty great ones to boot. Who would have thought an S-tier age all the way out here? Relisha, Atris' final resting place, the end of Myst. A whole game. We went a whole game without this fucking guy poking his face into our business. I was sure with how aged Yisha was that Atris had finally had the good graces to shuffle off. But no, here he is, in his own little utopia, content at having gotten everything he ever wanted. That fuck, how dare he? And it's basically just a badly composited vista of what amounts to the Pacific Northwest, which I can see on my own fucking window. This is just great. The most sappy, saccharine ending to a series basically devoted to showing how Atris is the worst dad of all time, and he gets a happy ending. We're just some poor schmuck caught up in his messy family drama that destroyed multiple pocket realities and the lives of countless civilizations, but sure, whatever. Pan up and give the happy triumphant music. D for done. Just so done.